Hello, dear students. Welcome to the Bajirao IAS Academy. Today is 3rd January and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So, in today's discussion, we are going to cover three important editorial. The first article is related to India-Maldives relation. Here, we will be discussing that why the relation between India and Maldives are in the declining phase in the recent time and why and how this is going to impact both India and Maldives. Okay, then further, we will be shifting towards the second article where we will be discussing the global nuclear order, which is under a strain. So, first of all, our focus will be what do you mean by global order and what do you mean by global nuclear order and why this global nuclear order is under a strain. And that's a very interesting article because we will be going into the world history where we will be trying to understand about the fightings between US and the former Russia, that is USSR. Then lastly, we will be moving towards the issue related to Aadhaar based payment system. Already we discussed a detailed article on this topic, but some extra points are there here. So we will be taking that point as well. So let's start with our discussion. But before starting, if you are new to our subscribe channel, then please do like, share, and subscribe. So let's start with our discussion. You can relate the first article with GS paper 2. Okay. So when we talk about India Maldives relation, in the recent time, specifically after the presidential election in November 2023, the relation between both the country is in the declining phase. And we are not saying it is evident by the fact that in the presidential election of Maldives, there was India Out campaign where series of discussions and series of campaigns was done against India. Okay, and the current president Mohammad Moizu, he is pro China. Okay, and this will be looking from the evidence like he utilized the India Out campaign in their election, and apart from that, when he won the election, so he is fulfilling their commitment as well. So recently, Maldives requested withdrawal of Indian military presence. We have already discussed many of the articles. And apart from that, there was recent meeting of Colombo Security Conclave. And in this meeting, even the president didn't attend the session. So this is two issue. And the recent issue that we have seen is like revoking an agreement with India for joint hydrographic survey in the Maldivian water. So this hydrographic survey were done from many times, but now this analysis or the survey is going to be revoked, and it was signed under the Prime Minister Modi's leadership. But that time there was a different president in Maldives who was pro India. That is one thing. Okay. So what you are observing here that Maldives is now shifting towards China and the Maldives is going away from India. These all recent incidents showcases this. Okay. So when we talk about hydrography, we have already discussed a detailed article on this topic. Hydrography means you are just trying to analyze the ocean waters regarding the temperature, the ocean currents, depth, and it can be utilized for civilian purpose as well as military purpose. And when we talk about civilian purpose, it can be used as ensuring navigational safety, marine scientific research, and environmental monitoring as well. But it can also be utilized for the military purpose like surveillance of the coast, war fighting assets. So many of the coastal nations like China utilize it for the military purpose. That's why many Chinese ships visit the Indian Ocean as well, and they get docked at various countries, like we have recently seen in Colombo. Okay, so that is one thing. So mainly India's purpose was civilian, and also this hydrography survey helped Maldives as well. So it was like beneficial to both the country. But now this agreement is being revoked. So this will affect Maldives as well. And now we are seeing that maybe in future these type of hydrographic survey can be done in Maldives with joint collaboration with the China. So in place of India, China is coming in the heart of Maldives. That is the main point. And when we talk about China, so China always have a larger strategic agenda in these type of research. Okay, and they do have expensive oceanographic research program in which scientific research vehicles are put forwarded into the Indian Ocean for analysis of the data. But the main thing you should understand that the China's main ambition is like enhancing its anti-submarine warfare capability. And when we talk about submarine, so you should know that these submarines are below the ocean water and they are very difficult to locate, to find. Okay, so China with these survey try to take benefit, try to have a detection of these submarine warfare of different nations. So that will benefit China indirectly. And also, these help Chinese submarines to have a detection and fine-tune tactics for the littoral combat. Okay, and China has done many naval base in the Maldives as well before. And one thing, like in 2018, China planned an ocean observatory in Makunodo atoll, which is in Maldives, but that time there was different precedent, so there was opposition for this ocean observatory. But now with the regime change, maybe this observatory can be revived. So that is one thing we need to understand. Okay, but we have to know that why Maldives is doing such thing, because Maldives has apprehension that whatever hydrographic survey which is being done by India and its involvement, so it's like a form of intelligence collection. So they blames like we are trying to collect intelligence, so that will affect the security of their country. So one important concern is that, so maybe there can be true allegation or the false allegation, but one lacuna is there, like the laws and the legal framework that governs the hydrography are not different from the norms governing the military survey. So hence, if there is hydrography survey being done for the civilian purpose, but they can also be utilized for the military purpose as well. So that is the lacuna, and hence Maldives can be concerned with this as well. And also, when we talk about United Nations laws on Convention of Sea, so it also explicitly do not authorize a coastal state to regulate hydrographic survey or military survey conducted beyond its territorial area. So when we talk about territorial sea, the seawater comes under the domain of that particular state. Okay, so kindly remember, and you have to be little bit aware about unclause, because UPSC to ask questions from this convention, and it can be a proper question in the prelims and mains as well. And even what, nowadays the blue economy is very getting important, so we should try to incorporate in the answer writing whenever there is a talk about blue economy or the ocean water body. Okay, so foreign maritime agency conducting hydrographic survey are free to map the sea outside a coastal state's territorial water. That is one thing. And when we talk about track record of India, so India is mostly trying to benefit the neighboring country. It is not like completely intelligence gathering. Okay, so we have a past hydrographic survey with various neighboring country, like we have the Mauritius, and we have done hydrographic survey helping the Mauritius since 1990, and that's why Mauritius capacity has been strengthened, and we have assisted the Mauritius with the setting up of hydrographic unit of skill development. Okay, so the Maldives should ensure that to enhance maritime awareness and security, India's partnership should be there, and Maldives should collaborate with India, not disintegrate with India. Okay, here collaboration is very, very important. Otherwise, China will get the benefit, China will get the edge, and maybe the China can weaponize the ocean survey. They can use the ocean survey for the military purpose, because we cannot trust China. Okay, whatever he says, but their action says different thing. Okay, so that's why the collaboration between India and Maldives is very, very important, and we should upgrade the relation, not downgrade the relation. That is one thing. So now we are shifting to the second article. It can be related to GS paper 2. Okay, so when we talk about global nuclear order, what is this global nuclear order? To understand it, we need to understand a global order. So we have globe, and in that globe we have different countries or the nation. But when we talk about powerful country, who are the powerful country? You will see that US, Russia, former USSR. Okay, and there was UK, but UK is not that powerful now that was earlier. Once upon a time, the UK or the Britain colonized many of the country, but now UK is not such powerful. But we will be talking with respect to the historical context. Okay, then there will be the France, and now China is also there. India is also coming under one of the most powerful country of the world. Okay, so these country comes together and try to make international regulation, rules, protocols, so that there should be international peace and security. That is the global order. And nowadays, the consensus of various other countries, the developing countries, also takes care of. Okay, so that is the global order. But you will be thinking that in the world there is two powerful country now, and one is extra emerging, which challenging the bipolar world. One is your US, another is your Russia, and then the China is also rising. Okay, so these are trying to have a implementation of the global order. That's why whenever any disturbances occurs in any country, so their influence may be visible, direct or indirect way. So try to understand it. But to have a legitimacy on any global order, there should be 2 points to be agreed upon. Number one, the convergence among the major powers of the day. That means whatever the agreements or the protocols that are being developed should be agreed by these powerful nations. Then the second one is successfully presenting the outcome as a global public good. So whatever the program is, that should aim for the global public good, and that's why there is different dimension of various global order, and one dimension is your global nuclear order. And when we talk about global nuclear order, what does it mean? Like, we have made international rules, regulations, protocols to ensure that there should be no weaponization of the nuclear things. Okay, that means non proliferation. of the nuclear energy. Okay, and it was developed with an evolutionary approach, with an chronological approach, specifically after World War II. Okay, and then there was progress, series of progress was happening, and now we see that after 1945 there was no any nuclear warfare, but sometimes threats are there, and these threats are like done by these powerful country as well. So one thing you should understand, so that is the good thing, that any disturbances or the conflict or the war do not have the utilization of this nuclear warfare. So that is one thing. Okay, so when we talk about global nuclear order, how it rose, so basically it came into existence under the influence of Cold War, and this Cold War was between the US and its allies versus the former Russia, that is USSR, and their allies. Okay, so that is one thing, and from that there was series of evolution done to have a proper global nuclear order. Like in 1962 there was Cuban Missile Crisis, and in this crisis there was direct confrontation of the US and the USSR, and like these country was such closer that they challenged one another to launch nuclear war. So that was like risks of the nuclear war, but for the God grace it wasn't initiated, otherwise the humanity may have perished as well. So that is one thing. And from this 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, two things were realized by these countries. Number one, like they needed bilateral mechanism to prevent tension, so that these tensions should not escalate to the nuclear level. Otherwise, the damage the nuclear destructions will cause will not be recoverable. And the second thing which was analyzed, like nuclear weapons are very dangerous, so their speed should be curbed. Okay, and when we talk about Cuban Missile Crisis, so this crisis started in 1962, where the Cold War fighting country, specifically the US and USSR, came very close to each other. And in this Cuban Missile Crisis, the US was deploying their nuclear missiles in Italy and Turkey, which is their allies. And in retaliation, the USSR or the Soviet Union also deployed nuclear missiles in Cuba. And you know the location of Cuba. Cuba is located in Caribbean Sea. Okay, and this country is very close to US. And please do find the map of Cuba. Okay, so that is one thing. And then the progress towards global nuclear order started, and these talks help to resolve the crisis as well. Okay, so sometimes we say now, like talks and diplomacy is very important to sort out any crisis rather going to the war. So this thing was analyzed here. And then US and USSR initiated multilateral negotiation in Geneva 1965, and there was talks over a treaty to curb the spread of nuclear weapons, so that no further country can make nuclear weapons. And that's why after 3 years with deliberate discussions, in 1969 nuclear non-proliferation treaty came into existence, and that time it was about 60 members, and now we have 191 members. Okay, so that is one thing we need to understand. Then comes another element that also decided the global nuclear order. That is, in 1974, there was conduct of the underground peaceful nuclear explosive, or we say it PNE. So it was done by India and it was like secret mission. So what the world thought, like if we allow this country to have a development of nuclear weapons, so this can also challenge the peace, and hence they started pressurizing India to have a non-proliferation treaty to be signed. But India utilized their brain carefully and India didn't sign the NPT or the non-proliferation treaty. Okay, but in retaliation, when India did this testing, so seven countries that was too much powerful, like US, USSR, UK, Canada, France, Japan, and West Germany, held a series of meetings in London and concluded that there should be export control on the nuclear resource so that it should not be used for nuclear explosive or for making nuclear weapons. Okay, and hence the London Club, like was there, which transformed into nuclear supplier group, and now it consists of 48 countries. Okay, and this nuclear supplier group consists of the group of country that do have the nuclear resource and they have control about the export of the nuclear resource to different nations. Okay, so there will be like series of protocols and agreements to be followed while sharing their nuclear resource to other countries. Okay, so that is one thing. So it was going well and global nuclear order was like good, and we have like achievement as well. Like since 1945 there is no nuclear confrontation in the world. Okay, and second, the non-proliferation has been a success as well, and we have certain evidence. Like since 1970s, only four countries have like developed their nuclear weapons. So only four countries, and before that there was many countries. So that means that this global nuclear order and the rules and regulation performed well. Okay, and which are those four countries? India, Israel, North Korea, and Pakistan. Okay, and however, Pakistan was assisted by China at, as it is claimed, in developing the nuclear weapon. Okay, and in 1995, the NPT extended into perpetuity. That means the Non-Proliferation Treaty was initially for a limited time, but it extended in perpetuity, means there is no time restrictions. Okay, however, there are some lacunas like arms control did not end the US USSR nuclear race, and that's why we have the evidence like in 1962 their arsenals, which was 28,000 bombs, and they grow to 65,000 bombs in early 1980s. So that means arms control was not succeeded. Okay, and hence we need to ensure that the two nuclear hegemons shared a notion of strategic stability based on assured second strike capability. And now we have to also understand that these countries also focus to the deterrence stability. Deterrence stability means they will not trying to strike first, but if there is a strike done by another country, then in retaliation they will definitely strike. So this created like deterrence stability. Okay, and this also helped to succeed this global nuclear order. But now it is under question because of the changing politics. Like China is also coming as a powerful country, and there is no bipolar world now because of rise of assertive China. Okay, and apart from this, many earlier arms control treaty are getting ended as well. That's the case that like this global nuclear order may be challenged in the future as well. Like in 2002, the US withdrew from anti-ballistic missile treaty. In 2019, that is the recent incident, from the intermediate range nuclear force treaty, and the new START treaty. This is also treaty that regulates arms. Okay, it will be going to lapse in 2026, and here the two big parties, that is US and Russia, is involved, but there is no meetings of these country to decide whether it will be extended or what will be going to happen after it will be getting expired. So that is one thing. And also recently, last year in 2023, Russia de-ratified the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. And what this Test Ban Treaty says, like we have to end all the types of nuclear tests. Okay, so Russia withdrew from it. So that is what suggesting, like this global nuclear order may be in the challenge, and whatever conflict we are seeing at the global level, it is also have the repercussions as well. Okay, so that is the thing. Hence, and now what we are seeing, that the US is not focusing too much on the outside world. The US is shifting inwards. That means, like whatever security they were providing to their allies, okay, for their protection, for their security, now the US is withdrawing. And what is the important point here, that if the US will not be supporting their allies in the times of the need, so the allies will shift to protect themselves by themselves. Okay, hence these countries are focusing on more independent nuclear deterrent capabilities, and that's why we can say the global nuclear order may be in the challenging phase. So we have discussed this two article. Now we are shifting to the GS paper 2, that is the last article. Okay, so we have discussed about the Aadhaar based payment system and in great detail, and maybe you have watched that video, and if you haven't, then please do watch that, and then you can have a better understanding what do you mean by Aadhaar based payment system, and what are different issue, what is the procedure of work. We have discussed in great detail, and it have the chances like in the prelims the question can come. Okay, so we are just here discussing about the issue. So nearly 35% of the job card holders, like the Manrega, we are talking with respect to the context of Manrega. Okay, so 35% job card holders, they can suffer from this mandatory implementation of Aadhaar based payment system from January 1, 2024. Okay, so when we talk about this Aadhaar based payment system, in simple words I can say that you have the bank account, and that bank account with have the Aadhaar linkages. So whatever government gives you the wages as the Manrega wage, so that will be directly transferred to your account. Okay, but there are certain issue. What are issue? Like definitely government is going to transfer the money or the wage into their account, but there can be wrong bank account as well. Okay, so here the workers may face like deferred payment. And when we talk about deferred payment, what does it mean? Like the account A, suppose money is to be transferred in account B A, but it got transferred in B. Okay, so this is called deferred payment. So that can cause damage to the Manrega worker. Okay, and there can be other issue like mapping the Aadhaar to the wrong bank account. And apart from that, there is talk about this scheme will be like helping to reduce in the delay payment. But here, how the payment delay could be reduced if this delay is coming due to the insufficient funds. And you see in various times like Manrega wage and the release of the funds from the government itself gets delayed. Okay, so these are the issue we have discussed. And what are suggestions here? So ministry should conduct the social audits. Social audits means you have to ask with the people as well, the beneficiary of this Manrega or the wage, okay, to ascertain that what is the problem and how we can solve it. Okay, and definitely this is a demand driven welfare scheme, And when we talk about this scheme, so it has like livelihood attached to the people, okay, to the poor people. And if many peoples face certain discrepancies due to this technological barrier or the issue, sometimes connectivity is not there, okay, sometimes like a wrong account the payment gets transferred, so this should not be there and it should be reformed. So that's the end of the article, friend. Hope you understood. And now we have the last session and we have the prelims PYQ session. Please pause the video and try to solve it, okay, and give your correct answer to the chat box. We are here to help you. Thank you, friends, and we will meet again with next sort of discussion. Thank you.